Fancy graphic time. The Rio Olympics are officially in the books. 2 weeks of competition have drawn to a close, and Team USA did dominate the games. As the medal counts will tell you, a total of 121 medals earned, the most the U.S. Has taken in an Olympics that was not boycotted. Great Britain and China followed directly in their wake, and our Ben Tracy was there for all the action and once again joins us from Rio. And so, Ben, with 2016 in the books, it was a party to be sure. Last night, the highlights from the weekend then included not just the closing ceremonies, but also a big win for USA basketball that finally looked like the team they expected to be, and arguably, at least for the home folks, a bigger win on the soccer pitch.
Exactly. So the men's basketball game, let's start with that. You know, they had a couple squeakers during the Olympics here that no one saw coming, and last night they really did play like what you would expect. They just dominated that game. But let's also give a shout out to the U.S. women. They won the gold medal in basketball as well. That's their 6th straight gold. So they have a 20-year winning streak going on right now, which is pretty awesome. But you did mention soccer, and here in Rio this past weekend, that was the game to end all games. It didn't matter where you were in this town. You could tell when they were winning or losing based on the reaction you could hear from the street. So the Brazilians took on Germany. They won the gold medal. And this was not just about the Olympics for them. This was really about regaining national pride after being beaten by the Germans in the 2014 World Cup. Then last night we saw the closing ceremony. Pretty cool show that Rio put on despite some pouring rain and really high winds. My favorite moment, though, was when they did the kind of ceremonial handoff to Japan, because the next Olympics will take place in Tokyo. And the very prim and proper Prime Minister, try to say that 5 times fast, came out dressed as Super Mario from the video game, which is kind of cool.
All good stuff. And again, we were just watching the still photographs of Neymar, who, again, got it done for the home folks there. We will finally address this, hopefully for the last time, the Ryan Lochte situation. In fact, we heard from him over the weekend. Before I ask you about it, let's listen to just a part of it.
I was highly intoxicated, and I made immature calls. And if that didn't happen, none of this would have happened.
So the question of the hour, perhaps, Ben, what actions, if any, might Olympic officials take regarding the 4 swimmers? What can you tell us?
Well, the head of the United States Olympic Committee says that there will be further action. That's kind of the phrase that he's using. I think it's widely expected that there'll be some sort of suspension of Ryan Lochte from competitive swimming, although I'm not sure what impact that will really have. He said after his last race here in Rio, before the whole gas station debacle, that he planned to take significant time off from swimming to do what he called refocusing. He said he was kind of burnt out on swimming. But I think everyone wants to put this whole thing behind them. It's really the last thing the United States Olympic Committee wants to keep talking about. But they do know at some point they have to do something, whether that comes in the form of a suspension or I don't know if they have the legal ability to impose a fine, but they plan to do something. I can tell you personally, Josh, I never expected to be doing live shots from a gas station while I was here in Rio covering the Olympics.
I could also speak for, it's not just the USOC that wants to stop talking about it, to be sure. You mentioned Tokyo in 2020. In fact, the next 3 Olympic Games, South Korea, Tokyo, and then Beijing in 2022. The next 3 will take place on the Asian continent. As we then look ahead to 2024 in the Summer Games, the next one that is still yet to be committed to, what's the talk there about the short list?
Well, it's interesting, you know, these cities that are bidding for it, and they include Paris, Rome, Budapest, and Los Angeles. They were all here. They're all here trying to woo these International Olympic Committee folks and try to put on a good show and say we'd be the best host. I think right now the odds are on Paris. It would be the 100th anniversary of the last time they hosted the Summer Games. But LA also has a strong bid, and that's largely because the Summer Olympics have not been in the United States since 1996 when they were held in Atlanta. And, you know, TV revenue from the United States is a big part of what bankrolls the Olympic movement. So I think there is a feeling that it's maybe overdue to come back here after New York and Chicago were both passed up in recent years in favor of other cities.
And I know people will remember 1984. It was a big money maker. And of course, they do have a lot of the infrastructure already there. 2 big concerns, to be sure. Ben Tracy in Rio, thank you so very much, my friend, and do travel safe.